Today's episode is brought to you by Garmin. If you know me, you know I don't attach my name to gear I don't trust. Garmin builds tools that keep up with real life in the field. Big thanks to Garmin for supporting the show. Check them out at garmin.com. These are stories of outdoor adventure and expert advice from folks with calloused hands. I'm James Nash, and this is the Six Ranch Podcast.
Born ready. Gentlemen,
this is, I got to talk about it. This is the 300th episode of the Six Ranch Podcast. And I've now recorded shows on at least 4 continents. I don't know. Does Central America count as a continent?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either. Like, is it sort of part of North America?
Yeah. That might be a Google.
Yeah. That's we'll call it a gray area.
I mean, it feels like it's 5th grade stuff.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Ask a 5th grader.
Yeah.
We don't have one.
Yeah, we used to have a show about that.
Uh-huh. But yeah, starting on a broken picnic table in Hell's Canyon, and here we are today.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal, man. Good job.
Last week we were sitting about 13,000 out of over 4 million global podcasts.
It's incredible.
That's amazing. So thanks everybody who listens. Appreciate y'all.
It's got to be the stories, man. People like stories, and information and education, and in a way that's digestible. So you do a good job of that.
And real people. Talking to real people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of real people, we've got Mr. Kevin Harlander, Mr. Chad Dotson. Welcome back to the studio, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Chad, how was your hunting season, man? Let's do a little overview. Hunting and guiding.
Yeah. Started off on a high country buck hunt in September, and it went well. Had a great adventure.
What state?
Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up getting a nice buck up there with my bow at 12,000 feet.
Jeez.
Doesn't sound like the kind of place you can drive to.
No.
Human winch.
It was difficult. Yeah. A scrawny guy like me.
Were you grateful?
Well, here's the
that
deal.
It wasn't an elk.
Yes. We had that conversation several times because we went too far. It was one of those deals where we had a little bit of confidence because, well, I knew better than to have confidence in the situation. We took a mule and a horse and we walked them in.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're not mule or horse packing guys, and you're in for some rodeos.
Yeah.
And so we had some rodeos.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of the hunt was just trying to adjust to having livestock in there.
Any broken gear?
A little bit of broken gear, no broken bones. Getting to watch horses and mules and buck down the hill with all your stuff flying off, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Makes it memorable.
But yeah, no, I mean, other than that, it was a grand adventure. It was great. The high country up there is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
That time of year especially, huh? That's just like...
So beautiful. Yeah. Yep. So awesome. The bucks are all in velvet, and the bulls are starting to think about the rut. I called a bull into about 15 yards from the tent one evening, and, so it was just a complete experience.
Yeah.
Good adventure. Then rolled into elk season here. Well, archery season was going when I got back, and got a nice bull here. Went to straight into rifle buck season, and the emphasis on that one was to take my 5.5-year-old with me. Had an awesome time. He was stoked. It's like the first year where he was like legitimately like, Dad, I want to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
it was, once that happened, it was like, all right, this is all about him. You know, I'm not going to miss this chance. So that was cool.
Did you use a rifle
Yeah.
during rifle season?
The first evening we were archery hunting. It's an any weapon tag. I'd like to point out.
That's a good point. Continue.
Yeah. And last year I caught some flack from James because I shot my buck with a bow during any weapon season. Yeah, it was good. The first evening we sat in the tree, and then the next morning we weren't planning on going hunting, and it ended up going hunting with him and got one with a rifle, and he was stoked.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was just so stoked.
Tell the people what your son said about rifles. You remember this?
he just later after that we had a whitetail doe tag, and the first evening we were sitting in the tree, and he goes, "Dada," I'm like, "Yeah, bud." He goes, "I think that we should just use a rifle. It seems like a better way to do it." And I look at him and I just started laughing in the tree, and I was like, "Yeah, man, you're not wrong." Pretty astute for a 5.5-year-old.
But you got that done too.
Yeah. So it was sweet.
Yeah. Awesome meat.
So cool. Yeah. But yeah, did some guiding in between and for elk, and currently helping a buddy on a late season muzzleloader whitetail tag, and we had muzzleloader shenanigans happen to us yesterday, and
Like a case of the not firing muzzleloader.
a case of the not firing muzzleloader. Reach down, recock, gun goes off the second time, but by then the buck was ski-daddling. And yeah, that ended in a puff of smoke and no buck on the ground. And I mean, I'm convinced, like, I know that most people will probably argue with me, but like, give me my bow 10 times out of 10. Those stupid muzzleloaders, like,
It's an interesting regulation, isn't it? Where
the Oregon regulations,
Yeah.
like the Northwest muzzleloader,
yeah,
it is like, do you have to wear buckskin while you shoot it also?
pretty dang near.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I like the premise, you know, of the idea of it, but dang it, man. When I want to send it, I want to know that it's going to be sent.
Mhm.
yeah.
Imagine fighting a war with one of those.
Oh, it's just, we were talking about it. We're like, how many bison were running around with a round ball about 1.5 inches under their hide? You know, like they wouldn't make it through the airport scanner, you know?
Yeah. And if you look at the history of like the 45 caliber straight wall cartridges, they just got longer and longer. And pretty soon you had the 45-70. And what a lot of people don't know about those like dash calibers, like a 30-30 and a 30-40, that second number is the grains of powder that went into it, of black powder. So a 45-70 was a 45 caliber bullet with a cartridge capacity of 70 grains of black powder. Well, then they went to the 45-90, and then they went to the 45-120. They're like, more power.
Yeah,
I'm like,
give us
let's
more.
get this thing going faster.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just learned, I was doing research about a really long shot that was made during the Civil War. It was about 1,390 yards with a black powder cartridge.
Sheesh.
What's very interesting to me about it is it was a long range rifle that was built for this, but it didn't have a round bore. The bore, the inside of the barrel was 6-sided with a twist. So the bullet was also 6-sided, so it wasn't a round bullet. And this bullet, because it was shaped like that, it's like a curved thing. It was able to continue stabilizing at really low velocities
Interesting.
for super long range. And this general got shot, and right before he got shot, his troops were saying like, "Hey, you shouldn't be standing out here." And he's 1,400 yards away from the Confederates, and he famously said they couldn't hit an elephant at this range. And then he got schwacked by this
Yikes.
square bullet.
Oof.
and it killed him.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, when I complain about muzzleloaders, which I, rarely hunt with, very extremely rarely, I do think about like having to fight a war with one of those.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Being in a combat situation of like, is my gun going to go off?
Yeah.
Historically, what was like the reload time of someone being really, good at it?
I think 20 seconds.
Yeah. How fast do you think you could do it, Chad, like on this hunt with this guy?
Oh, like if you were really falling.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. A minute? A minute and a half? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty dang strong, and he's like
giving
it to that bullet, trying to get it down the barrel, and I'm like, criminy, my scrawny little
because we can't
little body'd have to jump on it. We
can't use sabos.
Nope.
We can't use Pyrodex or any kind of pelletized powder.
Nope.
It has to be an exposed firing cap. You can't use illuminated sights. You can't use scopes.
Right.
It has to be a very, very traditional muzzleloader.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, like I say, I like the premise of it, but
a lot of people have had that experience with muzzleloaders in Oregon, and I don't know an Oregon muzzleloader expert. I don't know anybody who's like very proficient at it, that's their thing, and they go out and achieve success with it on the regular. Do you guys know anybody that fits that bill?
I know that some of those guys exist, but the number of them are very small.
Yeah.
Some great opportunities, right? Like times of the year.
Yeah, if you can figure it out,
right.
You've got some opportunity here. And that's what we're here to talk about today, are the changes to the Oregon hunting regulations. But before we get into that, Kevin, how was your season?
It was good. This year's kind of the year of the whitetail, honestly, which made me quite happy. Kind of traveling around, doing a bunch of stuff in some places. Got to go to Alberta and see giant deer. Spent half the month in November in Southern Illinois, which was really, really next level. And then we did some whitetail stuff around here too, which was really good. I think, I've sort of stepped into this role of, it's like pseudo guiding a bit, where you're like leading a couple of these trips across the country. And that's been really fun because you get to see people experience the whole thing from tip to tail, July food plots to hunting them in November. So that was really cool. Really good experience. Killed a couple deer along the way, and kind of set in motion a lot of plans for next year, which I think will be pretty sweet. So
what's your biggest lesson learned this year that you plan on applying next year?
Man, I think just like observation sits from a tree stand are just the thing to do.
Like eyeball scouting?
Yeah, just basically like, especially during the rut, which is such a catastrophe for pinning down animals, especially whitetails and when they're moving. It's just a really like difficult task to otherwise hunt a whitetail like you would in the early season. So those observation sits, you're essentially like getting closer to the X every time, and waiting for the right wind. But you're still in the woods, and anything can happen, right, during the rut. So just try to play it safe.
You've got your bow or gun or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're still hunting, right? You're just not like, today's the day I'm going to be on the X, or all these deer are coming out here or running this ridge. You're just trying to like, I watched a lot of really proficient guys this year just take a 6-day hunt and take every single second of the hunt, to make it happen.
Yeah.
Which to me is like, we're lucky to have days, but man, being able to like slow roll your way into the juice is incredibly important. Because even during the rut, those big mature deer, they don't take kindly to scent, right, at all. Even when they're running a doe, and they'll flee the country immediately. They'll push a doe like very far away if they can. They smell you. So yeah, those observation sits were crucial. And sometimes you just need a stroke of luck too. I think that's it. And you never know what happens in November. So yeah, I would just, I would say, yeah, just like slow playing your way onto the X versus trying to be there opening morning or the morning you get there or whatever.
And being willing to move tree stands.
Yeah. I mean, I never sit the same tree twice ever. Especially outside of the rut. We're hanging hunting every time.
Which is a big departure from, say, your grandpa.
For sure. I mean, you set the same tree in the same like elevated 6-foot elevated box stand, right? That you built out of 2x4s and plywood in the old days. And now you're.
And how many years did he sit that stand?
Oh my gosh. Like probably 40 plus.
Yeah.
Right. Killed some deer. Right.
But rode the same tree for 4 decades.
Yeah. But that's just a cultural difference now, you know? I mean, so yeah. And then also getting high in the tree too. Like there's so much technology now with really good climbing sticks and just the ability to scale. So like I'm sitting plus 22 feet every time. Mostly closer to 30 if I can help it. You just give yourself an advantage on a wind change. It's not perfect, but it's better.
Yeah.
And you can just see so much more. Right.
And I feel like those Midwest deer are more likely to look up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, they're just kind of used to people hunting them from the trees, and you know, people make mistakes, and a doe catches you, and she knows now. It's like, man, better look up.
Yeah, that's why you know it's impossible if you hunt enough to not have a deer look at you or look through you. So that's why I'm never going to be in that same tree ever. There's exceptions, obviously. Maybe you have one tree in a cedar thicket. That's the only tree. But yeah, I'm certainly moving.
I've had deer that have come in and would have given me a shot, but they got to my scent line from where I walked in.
Yeah.
And they didn't blow out. But it changed, it changed the behavior enough that I didn't get a shot because of it.
Yeah. I used to hunt at a lot of these like old outfitter camps and stuff where they had traditional sets everywhere, you know, ladder stands and whatever. And I'd always just pick like, even if it's 5-6 feet away in a different tree in a different setup, they're going to pin that tree and then look around it, and hopefully they don't see you. But if you're away from it, if you go to a place where there's predetermined tree stands and it's like not full bore rut, I would definitely try to hang, you know, somewhere else. Even if it's like right on the trail, right on the X, it's just, you're going to have a better opportunity for sure.
I took down my favorite tree stand where I guide elk because the cows had all learned it.
Yeah.
Right.
And those cows are smart too. Like they have some age on them.
They're old.
Yeah.
Over half of the cows that we've killed are older than 12.
Yeah. That's nuts. And that's a lot of data in their brains, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't want it to get to the point where it wasn't working anymore. And I could see it starting to taper. Like it wasn't working as well. And I was observing these cows come in and know exactly where to look because they'd had the experience there. Like they'd seen bulls die there.
Yeah.
So took it down.
Yeah.
Moved it.
Find a better tree.
Yep.
It's fortunate there's a lot of trees to pick from and you can kind of create your own.
There's other trees. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing in the hardwoods, you know, you just have to spend a little time. That's why saddle hunting's pretty cool. I give it a lot of shit all the time because it's funny, right?
It is
hanging in alignments thing, but
it's funny. And there's kind of a weird culture around it too.
Yeah, for sure. And it's sort of like, you know, how hard can you make it a little bit, or what's the shortest tree you can be in and the skinniest tree. I just use it as a device to get into the tree, and then I'm carrying a tree stand with me.
Yeah, there's a lot of gadgets. There's a lot of componentry going on with the saddle boys.
Yeah, they look like old mule skinners with like a cast iron pan coming off their back, you know.
All right, quick mid-roll break. This episode is sponsored by Garmin. I want to point you straight to the Tactix 8. I wear the 47mm AMOLED Tactix 8 every single day. On the ranch, in the mountains, in my gym, it keeps me dialed on my training and the changing weather, and the ballistics tools are legit when I'm setting up a shot or checking data in the field. Right now, Garmin has a limited time holiday sale. $250 off the entire Tactix 8 series. This is one of those rare moments where waiting will absolutely cost you money. Go to Garmin.com. Not later, not when you remember, right now. Hit Garmin.com, look at the Tactix 8 lineup, and grab the one that fits your life. Chad, what's your MVP piece of gear from this season?
That's a good question. I'm not generally a gear junkie. I have gear that I like and that I trust. I mean, it's always a cop out to say my binoculars, but I have good glass, and I'm in my glass all the time.
Yeah. What binoculars?
I have some Swarovski ELs, 10x42s. They're an older pair, but man, yeah, I don't know. Good glass. On that high country hunt, we were running floorless shelters. That was pretty awesome for saving weight on something like that.
Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah, it's the way. The base camp was a bigger floorless shelter with a stove, and that was kind of nice. It did get a little chilly up there sometimes.
And a stove is one of two ways to dry stuff out.
Yeah. Yep.
And the other way sucks.
Well, and up there, it's we were getting some pretty gnarly thunderstorms, and obviously Colorado was in the news a little bit for some bad storms this year. But yeah, I mean, during the day, it's not like we were ever in danger of being cold and wet, but wet and wet isn't very fun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we could have a place to dry our stuff out. And then,
and for folks who don't know, the other way is to wear your wet stuff inside your sleeping bag.
Right.
This is like a form of torture, honestly.
It's not great.
It's not very pleasant.
But it works.
It does
Right.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not great.
It's not great.
A fire is better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not great.
Well, Kyle just got that little scumbag just got the new Swarovski stabilized spotter. He is freaking out about how cool that thing is.
I haven't talked to anybody who's had it yet, but that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's losing his marbles. I think maybe I just don't look through it is my safest course of action. It's like $3,800.
Yep.
That's been my way. I just don't look through Swaro stuff.
Like, ooh, that's green.
Well, it's significantly better. Like there is no.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really, really good. His Swaro binos did break during archery season this year when we were guiding.
Really?
And there's a lens that came loose and it sounded rattly, and you could only use one of the barrels of the binos, but they fixed him. Got him back to him. I think right after his last hunt.
Yeah, as they do, like 24 hours probably right after. Okay, thanks.
But he's ready. He's ready to go. It's not really the last hunt, just the last hunt of this season. Okay. Well, friends and family, the Oregon hunting regulations have changed dramatically for deer this year. And instead of wildlife management units for deer, we're now using herd areas, I think is the nomenclature we're going with. What that looks like is they've taken a lot of the old hunting units and they've consolidated them. They've combined them. So now these areas are much, much larger, and they're meant to represent the herd migration areas of deer. I don't feel like that's really what happened. I think we just kind of took some units and lumped them together. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about these new units and what we think is going to change, some strategies around it, pros, cons, benefits. Starting with Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting because I come at it from perspective of like looking at the main goal, right, of the state game and fish department here in Oregon. And oftentimes I think it's the goal, right, is opportunity for, in my mind, opportunity for the public to participate in wildlife extraction and participation. And I don't even know if they have that like listed on their website, but it seems to me that we always, when we're in these meetings and stuff, we always talk about opportunity, right, for the public.
Right.
So on one hand, that's kind of the base level from my perspective of like, how do you adequately manage a population of game and still give people an opportunity to do so? So I think there's a few good things that have come out of this, which we'll talk about. A few things that are a little squirrely, perhaps, and a few things we just don't know.
Yeah. I've got it right here. I'm
Okay.
just going to interject.
Yeah.
The mission of the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife is to protect and enhance Oregon's fish and wildlife and their habitats for use and enjoyment by present and future generations.
Yeah. Which I think, like, if you look at every decision being based on that mission, right? There's probably some decent things in here. I think they've addressed, perhaps addressed the decline in mule deer. They've at least acknowledged it, right? Maybe not the way in which it's declining, or acknowledge the sort of the spectrum of considerations for what is actually making these mule deer go away.
Yeah, they've certainly acknowledged that there is a problem.
Yeah,
that the population is low and that actions need to be taken to try to solve that.
Right. The other thing they've done this year, which I think is interesting, is they've, for the first time in what I know to be true, they've separated out mule deer and whitetail.
First time ever.
As a species split, right?
Yep.
Which is a long time coming. I think that's something we talked about with them early in the process of we need to count whitetails, right? We need to figure out how many there are.
Because that hasn't been done in many years.
Probably 2016, right? I think is when the last one was.
Right.
And that was specific to a county, I believe.
So since that time, we just we're flying. I say we, I mean ODFW is flying in helicopters, and they're surveying deer and elk, but when they see whitetail, they just haven't been counting them.
Yeah. Which I think, in order to make correct wildlife management decisions, you have to start with a base population, right? X.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm excited about that. The problem is I don't know if there's plans to count deer in whitetail land. I think what they've done is they've essentially like taken away some mule deer tags and put those towards whitetail tags. Seems arbitrary to me if you don't have a starting population. So that's something I'd like to discuss too. So overall, I think it's interesting. I think it's going to be like a year in which, from my perspective, there's not a lot of information about what your preference points are going to do or achieve, because every hunt listed in the new regs in 2026 is listed as new for deer.
Right.
So that means there's no data behind it in terms of how many people put in. We only know how many tags are for that unit specifically, and that's pretty much it.
And we saw reductions in a lot of units. We saw reductions in the amount of mule deer tags that are available, and an increase in whitetail tags, which is kind of a silly thing to say because previously you could shoot either species with a buck tag.
Yeah, with the exception of some whitetail specific tags that occurred on private ground mostly.
Yep.
I think there was 2 buck tags. I might be wrong here. And then a handful of like doe tags, whitetail doe tags. So,
Chad, I'm curious what your take is on this. If I had to guess, dude, I would say less than 5% of the whitetail killed in this county are on public land.
I think it's probably pretty close to being an accurate statement.
I mean, they live on agricultural land. That's where they're at.
Yeah.
Not exclusively. There's whitetail in the forest. Not nearly as many. And that's just not where people are hunting them.
Yeah, no, it's not. There are definitely some bucks that are harvested on the public ground, but yeah, percentage wise, it's very, very low. The other thing about these changes is the whitetail influence in Oregon is as of now kind of a Northeast Oregon. Well, it's unique to Northeast Oregon.
I don't know. I think there's whitetail in about half of the counties of Oregon right now.
I would think that could be true, but not at a population level like we're seeing up here in the Northeast.
Right.
So when you have these segregations of mule deer versus whitetail tags, I think there's only a few counties in the state where that's really going to come into play strategically as of now. Maybe 10 years down the road and the whitetails are still doing great and they're spreading out and things are changing and it looks a little bit different then. But yeah, as of now, I think it's kind of another classic deal, which is really difficult in wildlife management, especially when you're spreading it across a state where what fits really well in one part of a state does not fit very well in another part of a state. But it's hard for local bios to it's hard for a state agency at the upper level to be able to put out a product like a hunting regulation and a big change like they're doing and have people understand it across the board versus the local bio who's saying, in my area, this is what's happening and this is what I'm seeing and we need to manage it this way. And a lot of times those two things don't meet in the middle, right? It can be pretty tough.
And all these changes need to, they get suggested by a district biologist that, moves on up the food chain until they, at the top level, make a recommendation to the Fish and Wildlife Commission, who determines whether that is going to be accepted and adopted or not. The easternmost Fish and Wildlife Commissioner in Oregon is still 8 hours west of where we live now, right? So it's challenging. It's challenging on so many levels. But yeah, making policy statewide is tricky. But we are making prescriptions for each one of these areas. And we used to be able to do that on a more prescriptive basis because the units were smaller. We could say, okay, for the Minam unit, this is how many tags are going to be issued. For the Imnaha unit, this is how many tags are going to be issued. Snake River, Catherine Creek. Now, all of those are in one herd area. And there's, of course, more tags than were issued for any single unit. But now hunters are going to be able to potentially consolidate in the best of all of those areas combined. I think that'll be really interesting. So, is everybody going to converge on the very best zone from all of those units and apply too much pressure? Is a potential benefit of that some of these like sleeper spots no longer have any pressure and are able to come back? I don't know. Are people just going to continue to hunt the same zones that they've always hunted? Don't know.
Yeah, those are all really good questions. I think it's still there's a part of me that wants to ask the question of what does the reduction do, short of zero, right? Like, what is the actual impact on the mule deer herd from hunting in terms of its decline, correct? And I think what I've seen over the last while I've been here, it just seems like there isn't there's not a significant amount of mule deer bucks getting killed every year to say like that is the reason that these mule deer are dwindling off.
That's definitely an argument. Is that reducing the buck population is not having an effect on the population in large because the does are still getting bred. I don't know if that's actually true though. So, at the peak of the mule deer rut, I saw a herd of 13 female animals here on the Six Ranch that didn't have a single buck near them. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Like that shouldn't happen. That tells me that there wasn't a buck available.
That's right. Or it got killed on the highway or barracuda, whatever, It's just not there.
For all the reasons.
Yeah,
like all the things
that's
that are
all I'm saying is I don't think it's in my mind, there isn't a reduction of tags that's going to help quell the decline unless you look at the other factors and adequately attack those in tandem.
Yeah.
Well, the honest truth is it's never been about a buck problem. It's been about a fawn recruitment problem.
That's right. Yeah.
It's the whole thing is fawn recruitment and getting fawns on the ground and then getting them to stay alive long enough to reproduce.
Yeah.
Well, we got to put the fawn in the doe.
Yep.
To start with.
Yep.
That needs a buck.
Yep.
Preferably a mature buck, so he's passing along genetics of an animal that knows how to survive for a few years. That'd be cool. Like that's a bonus for sure for the species. That's certainly not happening. Maybe even in the majority of cases. Like how many of these does do you think are getting bred by a 4 or 5 year old buck?
There's not very many 4 or 5 year old bucks.
No. And I would say like
in the population, so it's got to be pretty low.
Yeah. And if you look at like some of the data coming out, and this is the whitetail side, right? And it says from NDA and Mississippi State and A&M and all these places, right, that whitetail bucks breed across essentially a 2-year-old to a 6-year-old gets the same chance at does in a whitetail setting because they're closer together.
Mm-hmm.
It's all based on not, the biggest buck is going to breed the most does because he's the most dominant. It's just a matter of the fact that they exist in a place in which they can get to all these does, right? So, not sure what it looks like for mule deer on that front, but on the other side of the coin too, like the whitetail recruitment in terms of fawn recruitment is typically 2 to 1 over mule deer every year. Like those whitetail does are having twins, like at a pretty good clip.
Yeah.
Not sure the specific data, but anecdotally, right, we have a lot of twins.
What's the word you like to use there, Chad?
Fecundity.
That's what I thought.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, mule deer have pretty high reproduction rates, all things being equal. But right now, in a lot of the current settings across the West, the survival rates are not as good.
Yeah. So they're being born.
They
just can't make it to.
They're just not surviving to be to get put back in the breeding population. Yep. Again, a lot of reasons there why that may or may not be happening, but that goes back to what we just talked about before, where one size management does not fit all.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a lot of Central Oregon where some of these changes might make a lot of sense because you've got big migratory herds that are they have to move a long ways, and those herds might be jumping across our historic hunt boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got other places where, these herds are strictly like migrating through elevations within the same hunt boundary.
Yeah,
seasonally.
Big boundaries.
And
right?
and so, that herd really didn't need a unit change because it's doing, it's pretty well on its own. It's pretty self-sufficient. Not that it's doing well, but, it's not needing to be managed at a landscape scale like other places in the state. So the point being is like some areas fawn recruitment might be down because it's been in drought for a couple of years, and others it's because predation is too high. And
right.
Some, there's all sorts of things across the board.
Well, here's my question. How does changing the unit boundaries so that we're in these mega units benefit mule deer?
I'm not sure yet.
I don't have an answer to that.
I mean, all of this was supposedly based on collar data.
Mm-hmm.
They did some collar data and took some data based on movement patterns of mule deer in Central Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the idea started, as far as I know.
I know we collared a bunch of deer here like 4 years ago, but every single collared animal died.
Yep.
And they're dying so quickly that, and our biologists are constantly bogged down with doing wolf investigations. They weren't even able to get out in the field to figure out what had killed them.
Right. They just know that the beeper quit beeping, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the whole spectrum of all the changes, the thing that's most interesting to me is like we almost got there on certain things. Like if you're going to select a species differentiation and you're going to have whitetail tags, then let's count the whitetails and make it a ecological and biological decision on how many individuals we need to take off the landscape for a managed herd.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, earlier today, I went over to Pendleton to the Oregon Cattlemen's Association State Convention and went to the wildlife meeting and talked about this and talked about specifically how this was going to affect the landowner preference program. And the two options that are being considered that will get submitted here in a couple days to the commission, which they'll decide on January 16th, which one of these they're going to adopt. Nick Myatt, who's the East Region manager for ODFW, was there. And when I talked about we need to count whitetail, he was nodding really big. Like he's fully behind that. And I think that's great. Like we talked about, if you want to manage a population through hunting, you need to know what that population is so that you know how many hunters you want to give an opportunity to. You can look at their success rates, and then you can figure out, okay, we have a 30% success rate. We gave 100 tags. We actually need to kill, 90 deer. So next year, let's pick out 300 tags.
Yeah. And maybe I should give a little caveat to that, because I think maybe after this year, they may do that, right? They may say, this is after the separation, there may be a certain amount of deer that got killed. We'll know that now through reporting. Maybe then you make some selections based on the addition of a count.
We did get an email that said that they were trying to do some ground survey counts, but it wasn't going very well. So hopefully they just count when they're in the helicopter.
Yeah, that would be great. And then also, I think there's a great opportunity for us to help contribute, and volunteer with some citizen counts, right? If it's treated as, because we have that opportunity, like we can do that. And I think it's helpful.
And that came up today from one of the ranchers. He said, look, you're saying that the mule deer population is down low in this area. I can't get landowner preference tags right now, but I'm covered up in deer. I said, well, take a picture, take video of that and submit it so that we can start getting a record of that. And then we'll know. So it's not subjective. It's not anecdotal. You're not saying that you've got a lot of deer. You're submitting a video that shows that there's a lot of deer with this date. The same thing is being proposed for elk damage. Mm-hmm. So for the people that say, hey, I've got 300 head of elk on me, got these fencing issues and big feed reduction problems. I don't have places to put my cattle now. Take a video and you're going to submit that. And the Oregon Cattlemen's Association is going to put that stuff together so that we've got actual data on it. And, you don't even have to take the time to count them all. Just take a little video. Somebody else will count them.
Right.
Yeah.
And I understand it's a bandwidth issue too, right? There's a lot of things going on.
But that goes into your citizen science thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a great opportunity to help contribute to, a foundational study to understand, like, if we can't get biologists to every ranch, then we could do it for them. Yeah. And I think that's important to do.
That was another thing I said today was that despite ODFW's mission, including taking care of habitat, they actually don't control hardly any land. There's not a lot of ground that the state gets to control. So what I said to the ranchers was, this is on us. If there's a mule deer problem, which there's a population problem, it is going to fall upon the cattle and sheep ranchers of Oregon to improve habitat, to stay out of fawning areas, to change their fencing, to decrease predators, like to do the things that they can to help mule deer. And, some of the looks that I got from the people in the room were like, how can I manage doing anything else right now? Like I'm barely holding on, just trying to run cattle. And I get it. But the reality is we just can't count on anybody else. It has to be us. And for people who are not landowners, who are not ranchers, there's stuff that you can do too. So, Chad, what are some things that average Joe or Jane can go out and do on public land to improve the odds of fawn survival, to improve mule deer habitat?
Yeah, well, I think hunters are, in general, pretty guilty of wanting to point fingers at why mule deer numbers are down, and a lot of times the state agencies catch a lot of flack from the hunting public, but hunters as a whole are not very good about doing anything other than going hunting for their, 1 week vacation that they have and trying to shoot a buck, and it's all fine and dandy. We're all busy. But how many times during that week did they have a chance to shoot at a coyote? But they didn't. They didn't want to ruin their buck hunt. There's a lot of great, organizations, Mule Deer Foundation, Rocky Mountain Elk. They have habitat work going on all the time where you can, help remove fence or work on aspen projects or that type of thing. Those organizations are great to be a part of. Even if you don't have the time to go out in the field and do some of that work, we like to think that those dollars are being spent in ways that are productive for habitat or putting more deer or more elk on the landscape. But yeah, like I would say, for hunters in areas that they like to hunt, start thinking about, okay, yeah, it was better 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Or so what are the things? Be observation minded when you're out there and start thinking about it from, what can I do differently? I mean, how many people actually go out with the goal in mind to shoot predators? That's the goal. I'm going to go out and I'm going to hunt predators today.
Yeah. I mean, I do. You do.
Not very many people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I get it. People are busy, but
I've been thinking about trying to promote crime because it is not, I can't tell if it's illegal or if it's just not legal to plant a serviceberry tree on Forest Service land.
Right. Yeah. No, I understand what you're talking about.
And I have looked into it a little bit. You're not allowed to, but I also don't know if it's a crime, like if you can get a ticket for it. But something like that, I think is great.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 would encourage people to take a native species that benefits wildlife, go out on public land and plant that sucker in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I've had a really hard time with lately is, the argument isn't whether or not there's climate change. My argument is that seems to be the great scapegoat.
Sure.
In mule deer, population troubles. Like, oh, well, climate change, they're not handling it well, or we're having droughts, or we're having this, or we're having that. And it's like, yeah, mule deer health and, a lot of their reproduction is based on body weight percentages of does and fawns, the fawn when it goes into winter, and feed plays a big role in that. But last time I checked, none of us get to control the weather. So why are we just saying, we're going to throw in the towel because we can't change the weather? Well, it's like, okay, go to the next thing on the list. Let's just stop talking about, it's dry, figure it out. Like there's things that we can do.
And also to be clear, like some of the high country habitat we have here looks pretty damn good to me. Phenomenal, right? There is feed. There is, we've had some light winters. I think over time, it's like, what is the real thing? Right.
For sure. And again, that goes back to it again, like maybe in the high desert, we're having a little different conversation.
Yeah, sure.
But in Wallowa County, we've got every habitat type imaginable that a mule deer could live in.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just hard for me to say, well, it's a habitat issue.
It's really hard to imagine a deer in the eagle caps starving to death.
My God.
For sure.
Like ample habitat and forage. It's, that's a hard to swallow pill for me. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. How do you think that these changes are going to affect hunters specifically?
Well, I think that there's going to be some panic dumping of preference points this year. I think that the guys that have been trying to stack up points feel like the sand is shifting underneath their feet, and there's a big change this year. They can see other big changes coming. They don't know if it's worth it to hang on and to make it to 20, 25, whatever it takes to get some of these units. I don't think that there's a unit in the state of Oregon that is worth even a marginal number of preference points. There's just not. So take Mount Emily, for example. That's a unit that a lot of people have built up in their imaginations as being this big buck unit that it used to be. Hasn't been for quite some time. Like, big bucks are not coming out of there. A lot of hunters are going there and killing nothing, or coming out with a 2-year-old buck, and they're using 20 years worth of preference points to do it. Like, that's crazy. But it still has that reputation. So a lot of the West Side folks are continuing to stack points for, what they had heard about as a kid.
Yeah, for that late hunt.
And it's just not like that anymore.
Yeah. I think that can be said for all the historic big buck country in the state of Oregon. The Steens are just a shell of their former self.
It's a ghost town.
The Trouts are down.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think some of them are going to be like, man, we better spend them now. I think on the other hand, you're going to have guys that are like, man, I'm just gonna kind of punt this year, see how it shakes out,
ride it out.
That's what I think.
See how it shakes out. I think there's going to be some opportunities. I mean, people are by nature just good at like gaming the system.
Yeah,
not gaming the system, but trying to figure out,
looking for advantage,
or like, they're still going to figure out a way that they're going to have a tag in their pocket if they want to have a tag in their pocket. There's going to be opportunity. You're going to have, second choice tags. You're going to have leftover tags. You're going to have opportunities to go hunting. So I don't think that that's really going to have a dramatic impact on people. The people who want to figure out a way to go deer hunting are still going to go deer hunting, and there will be opportunity for them to do that.
I do want to give people a little bit of advice for these whitetail only tags that are new. I feel like I said it earlier, but I want to make it real clear. If you don't have a place to go hunting, that is not the tag for you to get. Like, you need to make sure that you've got private land that has deer that you can get access to before you get that tag. Thank you to everyone who has taken the time out of their busy lives to write a review for the show and share it with their friends. I'm extremely proud of how intelligent, engaged, and adventurous this audience is. Original music for the Six Ranch podcast is written and performed by Justin Hay. Art for the Six Ranch podcast was created by John Chatelain and digitized by Celia Harlander. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.